Thank you everyone for joining us today and welcome to the webinar Journey to Become LinkedIn's Top Voice with the guest speaker Alex Zhu, senior at the University of California, Berkeley in economics. So here we'll quickly discuss the agenda of the webinar today and I'll give you a brief I'll give you an introduction about the HiCounselor and then we'll ask you to then we'll ask our guest speaker to take us go through a question and answer round where it will be an opportunity for you all to ask question and answers from your guest speaker. So before we get started, I'll tell you the few ground rules and info about our webinar. So here it is a question and answer opportunity. If you want to ask any question from a guest speaker, you can either raise your hand or post it in a question and answer box. Before we turn it to our guest speaker, I just want to quickly introduce ourselves. We are HiCounselor, an online and mobile platform that help job seekers and students land their dream job by connecting them to employees who work at their dream company. I'm sure you all dramatically increase your chance. You all, get to today that coaching and mentorship from a company insider can dramatically increase your chances, not only to ensure that the job you are aiming for is the right fit, but also it makes you land in your dream job. So stay tuned until the end of the webinar and we'll give you a lot more information about it. Also, we'll be hosting regular free events like this. So please sign up to our platform so we can keep on upcoming webinars, posted on upcoming webinars. Great. So thank you, Alexu. I would like to welcome you and thank you so much for your participation with us. We would love to know more about your experience and professional background. Over to you, Alex.
Yeah, awesome. So thanks for having me today. We can start by I can start by introducing myself. So I'm currently a senior at the University of California, Berkeley, and I will be graduating this spring studying economics. So a little bit about myself. I'm originally from Washington and decided to go to the Bay Area because it was a great opportunity to kind of step into a new environment, to really step outside the comfort zone, especially within the Bay Area. You have new advancements in tech as well as finance. So there's a plethora of opportunities for someone coming from, say, another state on the West Coast. During my time here, I've had the opportunity to work with a lot of different types of organizations on campus, whether or not it's through finance, whether or not it's through accounting, as well as a lot of organizations that focus on philanthropy and volunteering. So that's helped me build a very global perspective in addition to my opportunities to studying abroad as well as having the opportunity to intern overseas as well. So all of those experiences combined have allowed me to really have a good perspective of what different industries look like across the world, how different countries operate, how different markets might look, and that's kind of influenced a little bit of what I hope to do in the future, which is I'm very interested in the intersection between economics, data, as well as finance. So post graduation, I'll be working at one of the big four, EY, and then I will be focusing in the assurance practice. So that's a little bit about myself. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex, for such a lovely introduction. I would request if you can tell us about your journey to become LinkedIn Top Voice.
Yeah, so becoming LinkedIn Top Voice, it was one of those things where I was a freshman at Berkeley, and I was kind of looking for different courses or clubs to join, really to diversify my experiences. And I had happened across this course which really focused on writing and online publishing. So I didn't really know what that meant, and prior to this, I didn't really have that good of a foundation or background on LinkedIn. In my mind, it was kind of just this professional social media site mainly used by business professionals. It wasn't necessarily used by, say, college graduates or like even just college students. So I had this opportunity, and this course was focused on writing on LinkedIn. So basically, what we did was we focused on different topics that we were interested in, and we would write essentially little articles that we published weekly. I ended up quite enjoying the process. So after the course ended, I decided to really focus on writing a little bit myself. So I would basically look up or research different topics that interested me, and then I would write, say, articles or analysis pieces on these, and then I would publish them on the LinkedIn platform, which was very, very great in terms of giving a voice to people from all different backgrounds, especially students. And then over the process of that year, I continued to write. And then near the end of the year, they essentially looked at all of the writers and publishers on the LinkedIn platform and saw which ones had a good or not essentially an influence circle where a lot of people ended up reading their articles, interacting with their articles, and that's how they decided who would become, say, a LinkedIn top voice or not.
Wow, fantastic it was, Alex. That was such an inspiring journey, must say. So, Alex, what changes have you seen after becoming LinkedIn top voice?
What changes or
What
challenges?
changes? Yeah. What
So,
changes yeah,
what changes?
have you seen after becoming LinkedIn top voice?
Yeah, so one thing that's very interesting, I'll talk a little bit more about this later on in the webinar, but it's this idea of branding. A lot of these things that you establish, especially with, say, online sites or media sites, especially on business platforms, is a lot of people they look at what you're doing or what your past experiences have been. And the opportunity to really have that LinkedIn top voice title is really a conversation starter. So in terms of whether or not it's in interviews or talking with different professionals in different industries, regardless of whatever industry this is, a lot of them always ask about my experiences of, oh, what's it like being a LinkedIn top voice? What exactly does that mean? What does that entail? So in terms of changes that I've seen in particular from before and after becoming a LinkedIn top voice is more people engaging in that conversation, more people willing to strike up a dialogue to really understand like, oh, what does this mean and how has that experience really affected what you're doing today?
Thank you so much for the answer, Alex. Alex, what was your strategy to get internship in finance?
Right. So studying economics, it's a major that really has a lot of opportunities to branch out of it. A couple of the different industries that I was particularly interested was finance, and in particular, the reason was I was very interested in not only how businesses operated, but understanding like the financial modeling behind not only business operations, but also say corporate finance as well. So before this, I had the opportunity to work at a lot of the different organizations on campus to kind of build that fundamental knowledge in addition to courses. But one thing that's very, very important in terms of looking for opportunities, internships, as well as professional employment jobs in the future as well, is reaching beyond just the simple application process, but really focusing on building your personal network as well. Those two come hand in hand. It's not one or the other. I think it's really, really important not only to establish a brand, but also to really start taking initiative and reaching out to people. That's one of the main things that I was trying to do throughout my junior year and then even now as a senior. But those are the things that really helped me say, in addition to just applying for positions, but understanding, oh, I know this person, I kind of understand what are the main things about this company, how it essentially works, what are they looking for in potential interns or employees, and this really gives you the edge in terms of understanding what you need to do to kind of tailor your resume or rather your application, as well as looking at which experiences are really relevant to whatever industry you're applying for. So in terms of that, that's essentially how I approach looking at, say, my finance internship. It's really looking at your networks and then utilizing that opportunity. And then once you have that opportunity, really taking the initiative and trying to constantly push yourself to learn new things and to constantly grow.
Wow, I think finance is a difficult subject, but listening to you seems to be really interesting, Alex. Great. So, Alex, what is the interview format of finance internship positions?
So the internship or the interview process, it's really focused in terms of a lot of these positions, it varies by company. I feel that nowadays a lot of companies are really focusing more on the behavioral aspect of the interviews. There are always technical questions, whether or not you understand financial statements, how essentially they work, whether or not it's market sizing questions. Those always exist, but I feel like regardless of whatever industry, a lot of the companies nowadays are really focusing on behavioral questions. largely because they really want to get a feel of how you might be able to best fit into the workplace. A lot of the companies, they always have internal trainings before you begin. So that is less of a concern, but I felt that now they're really focusing on understanding what are the things that you're involved in. Tell us more about yourself. What are the things you like to do in your free time? Really just getting a holistic view of what kind of person you are, what things you're interested in, to understand whether or not you'd be a good fit for the company, as well as what kind of fit you would be, or whether or not you would be a good fit for their company culture as well.
Thank you so much, Alex. Alex, I believe you worked at EY. So, how was your
Yeah,
internship experience as an assurance intern there?
it was fantastic. So one of the things that I really value, or I think a lot of people in my generation, they're starting to be more conscious of, is the company's environment, the company culture, and then what kind of viewpoint or like how they interact with, say, the business world itself. So one great thing about EY, just the company culture, it's really welcoming. Everyone there is incredibly nice. It's one of those environments that you feel that you can constantly push yourself, you can constantly learn. But in addition to that, there's all these programs that give you the opportunity to really give back to the community. One thing when I came to Berkeley that I've really enjoyed is having the opportunity to work with a lot of different clubs on campus, and in particular with philanthropy. So I'm a part of a lot of different organizations that focus on volunteering or really helping underserved communities in the Bay Area, and a lot of those opportunities are applicable, and you can have that opportunity at, say, EY, which is, I feel like, is a very good balance between the professional aspect as well as the community aspect. So in terms of the internship experience, I really enjoyed it, and it was one of those opportunities where they really wanted to encourage you to ask questions, really pushed you to learn about these experiences.
Great, seems to be a great journey, Alex. So, any courses you would recommend student to get internship in finance?
In terms of finance, I feel that it varies across a lot of different it varies across universities. So what these courses would be at other universities, I'm not too sure, but for Berkeley in particular, some key courses always, whether or not you're interested in finance or other professional fields such as accounting or marketing, always make sure you take the intro level course of that particular field at your university or wherever you are studying. So at Berkeley, we have our Intro to Finance course, which is really helpful in terms of understanding the core fundamentals and the basics behind whatever field this is. And then look into some of the upper division courses. In particular, we have a financial economics course at Berkeley, which really talked a lot about understanding how the stock market worked, understanding how trading works, looking at different financial instruments such as options, as well. So understanding how you would really utilize these financial instruments, some of those courses are really great. And in addition to this, I thought one course I really enjoyed was econometrics. It really focuses on the data aspect as well as balancing kind of the intersection between statistics and economics, which is really relevant regardless of whatever field you decide to pursue. So look for courses that are focused on understanding how markets work as well as understanding how you analyze and look at data, because going in to the 21st century, data is becoming a more and more important aspect of our professional world, and that's one thing that we want to encourage everyone to really have a good foundation in.
Great. I must say that was really inspiring, Alex. Alex, what do you think? How should students utilize their time at school to land best career post studies?
So I feel that college is a time to really, it's an opportunity to really experiment, really look at what kind of career you want to pursue. I know that a lot of people go into university having a pressure or already knowing, oh, I kind of want to do this or I kind of want to do that. And then they just pursue that, which is completely fine. But then there's also those people who come into the university being undecided and not being really sure what they really want to pursue. And that's okay as well. It's a great opportunity. I think college is a great opportunity not only to learn about these different industries, especially because you're interacting with students from all different fields, from all around the world, you can really gain a global perspective, really learn from these different people in terms of what kinds of things are important. Say, if I wanted to pursue a career in finance, or if I wanted to pursue a career in accounting, or if I wanted to even just go to law or maybe get an MBA in the future. So all of these different careers, it's really important that you start building those skills and learning about them now, because college, your undergraduate degree is really the opportunity for you to find something that you enjoy and to really focus in on that. But there's also the opportunity, at least there is for us at Berkeley, to take courses that are outside our major. So I would recommend using that opportunity to really look at courses in, say, like a department you would never even take a course in, and then trying to pick one from there, mainly because it offers you a different perspective and it teaches you to analyze problems in a different way. So you're not only approaching problems from one lens, and that's a really important skill, largely because a lot of companies require you to be quick on your feet and a good problem solver. And that requires you to have the ability to really tackle challenges and problems from different angles and perspectives. So being able to have the opportunity to really explore different careers at your university, taking different courses to gain that global perspective, that's one of the things I think is really, really important.
I must say it's a great advice. Thank you so much. What are the best resources to keep your to keep you updated with development in data and finance?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's very, very important is keeping up with the news. The news is a great place to essentially get all of the information. This is where professionals are getting their information. So it's really good to keep up to date with a lot of these sites. So whether or not it's just reading articles, reading up-to-date news articles that come out every day, whether or not it's like subscribing to or even in general, just say subscribing to like the New York Times and getting the latest in those, or looking at Business Insider, Bloomberg. A lot of these are really good resources. In terms of personally, I love listening to podcasts when I'm walking to class or in between classes. I'll just have my headphones in and I'll be probably listening to some podcasts on my phone. So a lot of these different podcasts, such as like Planet Money, those are great to get like a quick glimpse at, say, a challenge or a problem that's in the world today. And they're pretty short, so they're very digestible and they're very, very concise in how they explain a concept or a problem. So these are very, very good ways in consuming a lot of this information that might be a little bit more dry if you're just looking at it straight away. So looking at it through sources such as online articles, online videos, looking at it through podcasts, digital media, that's a great opportunity. Even keeping up to date with social media as well. Social media in today's day and age is not no longer just about building, say, like an online profile. Sites like Twitter, sites like Reddit, those are really places where a lot of people begin to contribute information in addition to being essentially like the front page of the internet, right? So a lot of the most recent news, some of the most recent challenges, up-to-date problems, they're going to be featured on these pages. So it's a good idea to keep up with these different sources in addition to pursuing some of the more traditional uh, avenues of gaining information, such as through online publications and news articles.
Thank you so much. I'm sure this piece of advice is really going to help our attendees. So, Alex, as you write about diverse topics, so what do you think? How important is to have knowledge of multiple industries?
I think I think that's a very important skill, like I said earlier, regardless of what industry you are in or you want to pursue in the future, you want to diversify your experiences and increase your capabilities so that you are able to market yourself as well as put yourself in the best position to succeed in the future. In terms of looking at different industries, in the past when I was really focusing on writing a lot of different articles, I really wanted to address topics and issues in a lot of different industries. So whether or not it was marketing, whether or not it was in politics, or whether or not it was in, say, like branding, or even in, say, like leadership, a lot of these different areas, they offer different perspectives in terms of what are some of the different challenges that these industries face, or what are some of the things that people in these industries are constantly looking at or thinking about. So that's one of the things I feel like is really, really important. And this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about taking the opportunity to really take courses in different departments, kind of stepping outside your comfort zone and learning about as many different fields as possible, because your undergraduate experience is one of those opportunities where they give you the resources to really explore. Once you begin your career, once, say, if you do decide to go to graduate school, it becomes a little bit harder to essentially step into a completely different field to take a course that is completely unrelated to what you're currently studying. So your undergraduate studies is a great opportunity to do this. In addition to also, like I previously mentioned, focusing on self-learning. So going on to these online sites, looking at online articles, really trying to learn about these different topics if you don't have the opportunity or resources to take the course at your university or wherever you may be studying.
Thank you so much for the answer, Alex. So here is my next question. What is the best way to influence people?
I think I think one of the very, very important things that we're kind of questioning in today's day and age is how you really see a problem from another person's point of view. We see this with our political system. This is one of the things that I like to write about, especially when I was writing in 2016 in the midst of a presidential election. The online debate was one of those very, very interesting things where you had these two different or multiple different factions of supporters of various different political candidates, but there seemed to be this lack of inability to kind of see problems from another person's perspective in order to be able to even not just influence, but to have a dialogue with someone else. It's important to understand where they're coming from. So in terms of the question, how what's the best way to influence someone? I think the most important thing is having the ability to even just have a dialogue with them. And in order to do that, you need to understand how they're coming from or approaching a problem, what's their background, what are their points of view on whatever issue you guys are talking about, or whatever the field of debate or conversation is. And that gives you the opportunity to really understand if this is what they think, how can I best address this, or how do I share what I view or my viewpoints in a way that best makes sense to them as well. Being able to communicate these ideas, whether or not through speech or through writing, is a skill that I think is very valuable if you have the time to focus and develop the ability to really communicate with people that have different viewpoints as you do. That's the most effective way I think it is to just talk to people and strike up a conversation.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. How do you create your personal brand?
Yeah. So brands are one of those huge topics. It's one of those things that really defines a company or even an organization. So when I began writing on LinkedIn, my profile was pretty bare. I didn't really have anything. I wasn't really sure what the platform could do or was meant to do. It was mainly with our course, we got assigned these articles that we had to write and we would write them and then we'd post them. So as I went through, I realized that it mattered less on, say, whatever my specific article said, but about the overall theme and what I was trying to essentially communicate to the reader or the audience. And in order to do that, it's important to understand what kind of audience you're really trying to reach. Because if you're just writing in LinkedIn in particular, if you're just writing about a lot of different topics all across the board, that doesn't necessarily give any sense of cohesion or theme to what your profile is about. You could have a brand where you just want to talk about things in all different industries, which is great, but this kind of leads you to have the perspective where you're not really focused in any one particular field or the other. So in particular, when I was trying to build my brand, I wanted to focus on things that I found particularly interesting, and then I wanted to focus on how I could bring that topic or issue to the general audience. So in 2016, it was a presidential election, and one thing I've always been very interested about was politics, and I've also been interested in marketing as well as media. So a lot of my articles throughout the year were really focused on the intersection between politics and digital media. So understanding how politicians really utilize these digital sites, these digital platforms to build their campaigns, as well as how they interacted with audiences or their constituencies or potential voters. So if that was my overall theme, then the way I wanted to build my brand was I wanted to really focus on that, but also to make everything that I provided or the content I provided to have a certain level of quality. So in terms of the content, a lot of people who write online articles, there's a lot of different styles. There's some people who like to write shorter articles that are basically maybe like a 2 minute read or a skim, and then they'd write a bunch throughout the week, and that would essentially be what they're known for. So all of their followers, they would understand, okay, maybe 3 times a week they're going to have an article that's about a given topic, and then they would just essentially read that. But I really wanted to focus on looking at more of an in-depth look at any given topic. I would say research or look at. So instead of maybe writing 2 or 3 articles per week, I'd really focus on maybe one article a week or one article every 2 weeks. But essentially, the article would be much longer. And if you were to read it, it would take maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So it's a deeper dive into whatever given subject, whether or not it's how you use digital media, or whether or not it's looking at different influences of the entertainment industry or the evolution of technology, or even looking at, say, like the gaming industry. With whatever given topic, I really wanted to make sure I looked at the topic with a deep lens and really kind of focus in on all of the different things that are addressed with this issue. And so when I'm building my brand, I really wanted to make it feel as though these articles that I'm writing, they're meant to be informative pieces, not just something that you might want to look at, say, scroll through on your phone as a quick read. So, in terms of establishing your brand, I think LinkedIn is a great example of how you really take time and understand what kind of audience you want to build, and then understand what you're good at or what you're interested in, and really focusing in on that instead of just covering everything but not really focusing on anything in particular.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Alex. So, Alex, we would love to know your secret ingredients of your powerful writing skills.
Yeah, so it doesn't come just naturally, of course. Everything, in order to become proficient at it or even to become good at it, it requires practice. And one of the things that's really, really important, regardless of whatever I think you're doing, is really looking at examples. So whether or not it's constantly reading online publications, reading online articles, or even just listening to podcasts, listening to speeches, understanding how people formulate different articles, different writing techniques, or just seeing how it flows when you read it. So not only is it important to, say, read different articles published by other writers, but it's also important, I feel, to listen to, in general for me, since I did speech and debate in high school, I really appreciated when people could build a concise argument and then effectively communicate that. So I would constantly listen as well to podcasts, like I mentioned, various speeches, mainly just to see how things flowed when read out loud. And that was one of the things when I was writing, I really wanted to try to focus in on as well. It's not just about how it looks on the page, but once you're reading it, how it flows. So that's one of the things that I feel is a good thing people can try to focus on, not only focusing on the writing aspect, but also the speech aspect as well.
Great. So, here comes my last question, Alex. A lot of people read your articles. Could you please tell us how you used to promote your articles when you did not have any followers?
Yeah. So when I was writing in about like 2016, 2017, LinkedIn had this great platform where it was really encouraging online publications. So they had this site or offshoot branch called LinkedIn Pulse, which is essentially where articles were featured. So after I wrote an article, basically the way you would get featured in, say, like a topic, politics, or whether or not in, say, marketing or business, at the end of your article, you would just insert, say, a hashtag marketing, hashtag politics, hashtag student voices. And then through their system, they would essentially filter through those articles, and then they would be able to promote all of the top articles of that day in any different category. So a lot of the people that are looking for online resources, online articles, online publications, they'd be able to go to these essential categories and then look through and browse all of those articles. So that was one way we did it at the very beginning. Another way to do it is utilizing your other social media sites. So whether or not it's Facebook or whether or not it's sites like Twitter, it's a great opportunity to kind of share your writing, share it with your friends, share it with your family, even share it with people, your followers on different platforms. That's a great way to introduce them to, say, whatever topic you're writing. In addition, you can share it on LinkedIn as well. After you publish it, you can share it with your connections as well. So that's a great opportunity to kind of extend that brand. And that was one thing I found was a great resource because a lot of the time, a lot of people don't really interact with different platforms. So, say like my Facebook friends wouldn't necessarily be looking at things I post on LinkedIn in terms of content. So, it's a great opportunity to kind of reach out to them. In addition to that, once I'm reaching out and once I'm getting more people to view and look at these articles, a lot of the times people might reach out to me and be like, oh, this was a great article. We'd love to feature it on, say, our publication or on our website. Is that okay with you? And those are always great opportunities to kind of further spread your writing, further spread your ideas to get to a larger audience and see what they're kind of interested as well. So I would say utilizing your own personal network is a great idea. Utilizing social media sites such as Twitter to reach a broader network, that's also a great idea. Nowadays, they don't really focus on LinkedIn posts as much. Nowadays, the LinkedIn top voices, you see the company shifting a little bit more towards digital. So you see a lot more people that are recording videos that are essentially becoming digital vloggers on the LinkedIn platform. But one thing that's consistent is the use of the hashtag. So that's an easy way to sort through categories. So if you wanted to reach a larger audience beyond just your own personal network, make sure to hashtag all of your posts so that when it filters through, people can essentially say, oh, I'm interested to see what some of the students are saying. So I'll search by hashtag student voices, and then you'll get a list of all of those top performing posts regarding these different topics written by students or created by students. So I would say that's another great opportunity that I utilize or another resource I utilize that you can still utilize today in terms of building your brand and sharing your content that you create.
Great. Thank you so much, Alex, for sharing your advice, expertise, and insights with us. Now, I would like to share a brief story of High Counselor Inception. We are that there are three major reasons due to which most of the people find difficulty in getting jobs: lack of connection with company insiders, lack of information about company and the job position, and candidates are most of the times not well prepared for the interview. So we really solve this problem by connecting job seekers and the company insiders. So what does High Counsel exactly do? Suppose I want to get a job at Facebook. I could log into High Counselor website or mobile app, search for a current employer working at Facebook, and immediately book a phone or an email appointment for tips and career advice. Yeah, one thing, it's correct that you get one-to-one coaching from someone working in your dream company. So our counselors basically work in top companies in product technology and consulting domains. So if that is your target industry, people definitely check out highcounselor.com. Just like this webinar, we conduct webinars every week. Don't forget to sign up on High Counselor platform. It will help us to keep you posted about upcoming awesome webinars that are really gonna help you in your career. So we regularly post the webinars on YouTube as well. I would request you all to, hit the bell icon here on the YouTube to be updated about the upcoming webinars, which we keep on uploading it. And we will also upload this webinar recording in the next few days. Make sure you do not forget to click the bell icon and subscribe with us. Great. So if you enjoyed our webinar, I would request you all to please share it on your social media channels and wherever you want so that your friends also can connect on the same. Finally, I hope you all found this webinar helpful. We'll send you a survey link in next couple of days. We'll be hosting events like this regularly. So please let us know what you think so that we can ensure that you are getting maximum benefit from our end and value from those webinars. Great. So thank you so much, Alex, for the active participation. We loved your expertise. We loved your valuable insights with us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep. Talk soon. Bye.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care.
You too.